life is an adventure and it's yours to design. So make it outlandish, make it wild, make it fun, make it crazy, make it.
Hello and welcome to One World Countless Stories. Today I am interviewing Keith Lorren and I'm so excited. I actually met Keith in Europe when I was on a cruise. We were both on the Royal Caribbean and we met him. When I first saw him, I'm like, I got to know who this guy is. And he has agreed to come on the podcast. And I'm so excited to hear all the wisdom that he's going to share with us as he runs his own business, which if you're watching on YouTube, you can see some of his products on the screen right now. But I'm going to hand it over to you, Keith, to introduce yourself and tell us everything that's important to know about you.
Well, what's happening, everybody? My name is Keith Lorren. I'm known all over the world as the spiciest man in the world, the Duke of Delicious, the Kaiser of Curry, the man who invented cooking, and the Spice King. I live in Pompano Beach, Florida, which is a sunny beach town. Everything you think about Miami Beach, Pompano Beach has it, but it's just smaller and more intimate, and I love it. And I'm just all about living out my passion and being the best version of myself.
Awesome. I'm so excited. Thank you again for agreeing to come on here. I know we've only really known each other for probably a whole of 10 minutes.
Right.
And then we followed each other on social media. And I'm going to give you an opportunity to shout out your social media because I love his social media. It's so much
Oh,
fun.
thank you so much.
And you can really
Thank
feel
you
the
so much.
passion. Like you said, you're living your passion, you're living your life. But I kind of want to start with your childhood. And then we're going to get into how you became the Spice King. So why don't you tell me a little bit about your childhood and what it was like for you growing up?
So I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. My great grandfather, his name was Gene Johnson, and he created a oyster shack concept of a restaurant in St. Augustine, Florida. He became so famous. People like Marilyn Monroe, Clark Gable, Lucille Ball, the Kennedys, Sinatra, all of those famous people would go to his restaurant. They would fly in, and then they would have to take a boat because he lived on the ocean, and then right behind his house was where he would grow his oysters. He had an oyster farm too, and they would take boats to get to him. Al Capone would come there and bring liquor to his parties, and just everybody would go to his place for a great time. And this is during a time of like segregation, so it was a real inspiring story that if you are great in your work and you know how to make people feel good, and it'll just draw in people from all over the world. And I wanted to do the same thing and make people's lives taste better. And that's why I chose food products. And the great thing is that now my products are sold in over 5,000 stores: Walmart, Kroger, Food Lion, Stop and Shop, Big Y, Julasco, HEB, Kroger, Fry's, and also Costco now. So it's really exciting. I grew up with a small family. My mother, my father, my sister. It was a very strict religious background. And in that group, every week we would have to go out and proselytize and meet people, and so it helped me get over my fear of people,
Mm-hmm.
um, and public speaking, which was a tremendous help. And so I was encouraged to live the straight and narrow, walk a narrow path, and just stay focused on my goals, which is great.
Yeah, that's so awesome. So you said when you were younger, you were a little bit afraid of talking to people, and you were really able to be pushed outside of your comfort zone through your family dynamic, right?
Yes, it caused me to step out of my comfort zone, which
Mm-hmm.
was great. In business, you always have to step out of your comfort zone, and when you're different, a lot of times you're attacked. And so I was always different. I went to school in the inner cities, and there was a lot of crime in the neighborhood. And I went to a school called Rainbow Park, which was like a magnet program, and I was put into a drama program. And because we had to do the theater arts and we had to be so extroverted, I was targeted a lot to for fights and harsh words and names, and it was tough.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but fighting through that helped me to be a better person, a stronger person, and go against all the opposition that you get when you're an online personality, because it's just as many good reviews you get bad, and you just have to have a really tough skin. So between being in the religious group and going door to door and being in the public and then having to fight in the inner city fighting every day, and being in the hood, as they say. It just makes you a tougher person. So I'm thankful for all of those experiences. If that
Mhm.
makes any sense.
No, that makes total sense. And can you talk to us a little bit more about the segregation you felt and the way that you were treated when you were a kid and the impacts it had on you?
Um, well, okay. In any group, I'm not going to make it specific to any, but in any group, when you stand out, you're attacked. So in my particular group, a lot of times I was ostracized because I different stupid things like having facial hair or having longer hair or dressing outlandish or
Yeah.
being very colorful. Anything that's different is attacked. Just like if you have an ant colony and all of a sudden a lime green ant walks through, that ant is going to be singled out and attacked because it doesn't fit into the narrative. So I
Mhm.
had to contend with that, and also being an entrepreneur, you take a lot more risk than what's normal. For instance, most people want to take the safe route. Oh, you get a 9 to 5 job, you take a traditional, be a doctor, lawyer, this and that. But not everybody fits those molds. And then people, out of the goodness of their heart, will try to warn you, oh, you need to go get a regular job. You know, your wild idea is not going to work, and that's out of fear and to keep you safe. So you have to just really build up a tough skin to be okay being different and standing out from the crowd, and also taking an adventurous path in entrepreneurship because it's not easy. And a lot of times you see the vision, God gave you the vision, but He hasn't given it to anybody else. So everybody else is looking at you from the outside like you're crazy because they can't see what you see. So I think this whole journey of my life so far has been about being strong and being okay, being independent, and going against the grain,
Mhm.
and keep knocking in midst of people saying no. You know what I mean? And I've been heavily rewarded for doing so. I think my life right now, even though I had to go through a lot of heartache in the beginning parts and while I was building the business, now I live exactly how I live. I live right on the ocean. My product is in over 5,000 stores. We're expanding internationally now. And get invited on many different television shows.
Mhm.
Um, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And it is a big, if nobody else is giving me a hug, it's a hug to myself that, hey, man, your idea worked, and you are rewarded based off of your faith. So that's
Yeah.
how I would answer that question, if
Oh,
that makes any sense.
I love what you just said. I love it so much. And I think a lot of the times people feel like they have to become more like everyone else, try to fit in. But there's so much beauty in owning that you're different and owning that you're not like everybody else and realizing that that's actually kind of a superpower in its
It
own.
is a superpower.
Yeah. And like for
Yeah.
me personally, I struggled with learning disabilities. So in every school
Hmm.
I went to, I was different. And that was really,
Hmm.
really hard. But like you said, it builds up this strength inside of you and this grit to be like, you got to keep going, you got to be pushing. And it plays into the entrepreneur world and in your later life. And what I really loved is you talked about the vision that you have and that God put in your eyes that nobody else can
Hmm.
see. Can you elaborate
Right.
a little bit more on that?
Yeah. Everybody is wonderful. Everybody has gifts. All of you people out there watching, you guys have a special gift that nobody else has. And if
Mhm,
you allow people to dim your light, or if you change the color of your light to match everybody else's, you lose that gift. So it's so important to it's so important to let the divine inspiration shine through you because it's not about you. And if you choose not to let that light shine, you're slapping the divine powers in the face. And
mhm,
guess what? They're going to take that gift and give it to somebody else because you're not being a good steward of it. So
mhm,
that's why it's so important for everybody to start moving in your divine inspiration, because when you do that, you get rewarded and you get rewarded and you get more and more and more, and you just grow. But if you don't, if you're not obedient to that calling, you're gonna suffer tremendously for it. You're gonna suffer in your heart, you're gonna suffer in your wealth, you're gonna suffer in your relationships. And I advise against that.
mhm.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. And I think when you suffer in the heart, you suffer in every other area of your life because
That's the worst type of suffering.
you got a compass in your heart and it'll lead you, but you have to go, you have to follow. When you feel like something's not right, you got to listen to that. And something else you mentioned was the path that you take. There's a lot of
Yeah.
traditional paths, and a lot of people will try to tell you, well, that's too scary, that's too risky, don't do that. What was one of the most challenging experiences in your own journey with picking a different path than everyone else?
All of it is difficult because we're newly on the planet and we have to find our path. We have to find our voice. We have to find our direction. And we're swimming in a current that's so clouded by everybody else's opinions and perceptions and dictates and ideas that if you pay close attention to all of that, you won't be able to find your own voice. So I guess finding your voice and finding your path is the hardest thing. But then once you find it, it's so important to be very specific in what you ask the universe for, God for. And I believe that one has to create a vision board. If you were to go into my private room, I have a vision board and I have all of my goals listed out and I have dates and I'm able to check off so many very things. The most powerful manifestation, all of everything that I have is a manifestation. The, the products that are so heavily distributed, the wealth, my health, I look damn good. That's a manifestation.
You do?
Uh,
You do?
I dress the way I want to dress. I was thrilled. And to get to that thrilled level, you just have to go through some things and come out victorious, and you'll be tested. But once you get past those tests, it's great. So create a vision board. You have to be very specific. In the Bible, it says that the man that, how does it go? It's something to the effect of that the man that's unsure of his way, let him ask nothing of God because he shouldn't expect nothing because he don't know what he wants. But
Mhm.
if you know what you want and you ask specifically for that, it can give you that. And that's the beauty of it all. You know exactly I know exactly what I want. I know what I expect. I know what I intend, and it's great. I'm
Mhm.
so grateful. I'm so thankful, so appreciative to all of the people who have said yes. And it gives hope to other people that other people will say yes. I had a great time. Listen, I went to the best culinary school in the world and didn't have no money at the Culinary Institute of America. I always wanted to work at Food Network. I interned at Food Network. I wanted to live all over the world. I lived in Dubai and China and Greece and traveled throughout South America and Europe. Life is an adventure and it's yours to design. So make it outlandish, make it wild, make it fun, make it crazy, make it memorable.
Yeah. Wow, so powerful. And what would you say to someone who is really struggling with letting the process happen? Like, I find a lot of times we're so worried about the how will it happen? How will we
Mm-hmm,
get to the main goal? And they're really, really stuck and they're just holding on to it. And when I hear you
mm-hmm,
talk, I hear that you've let it go. You're like, this is what I'm gonna say I want, but I'm gonna let it happen and play out because I trust the universe, the God, whoever you believe in. I trust
uh-huh,
it enough that I'm going to leave it in
yeah.
their hands. How did you get to
Mm-hmm.
that point?
So my aunt taught me a lesson early on in life about faith. She was a volunteer, but she always had a luxury car to drive, and she always lived on the ocean like she wanted to, and she would have the most exotic travels all over the world. And everybody else in her circle would be like, "How did you do that? You ain't got no money? How are you able to drive that? How are you able to?" He's like, and she said that people are awarded. The answer is people are awarded in in related measure to their faith. If your faith is small, you're gonna receive small. If your faith is great, you receive great. So set your vision board up, write down exactly what you expect. And every day you go to that vision board and you affirm it to yourself. That's why I do I'm the spiciest man in the world. I'm the Duke of Delicious. I'm the Kaiser Curry. I'm the Spice King. You know, because I'm reaffirming myself and my position in life. And in my vision board, I affirm all that is to come and all that is. You have to feel it. You gotta imagine how it feels. In my case, every day I would imagine how it feels to live on the ocean and to walk into the grocery store and see my products and just to pick up and go to Dubai this week. Next week I'm over in Europe. I'm going on a 9 day cruise and where I met you at, I'm going all over Europe. You gotta you have to see it before you see it, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I want to add a little bit to it because at
Mm-hmm.
January, the beginning of this year, way at the beginning of
Mm-hmm.
this year, I created a vision board and I created two of them that were really, really big.
Mm-hmm.
They're in my bedroom. And I wake up and I look at them every morning. But one of them
Mm-hmm.
was very specific to traveling Europe. That's always been a big
Mm-hmm.
dream of mine. And it had pictures of skydiving. It had pictures of being in Italy. It had pictures of being in Paris. It had pictures of being in Amsterdam.
Wow.
And I was in this place where I was a little bit stuck. I'm not going to lie. I decided to take a year off university. I was a little stuck and I was feeling like everybody wants me to make a decision on what I'm doing with my life and I don't know. But I just kept waking up and doing the work and doing the internal work. And I had this vision board and I looked at it multiple times a day. And where was I just recently?
I
In
met you in
Europe.
Europe.
In Europe, I have achieved everything on that one vision board. I went skydiving. I've been to Amsterdam. I've
Wow.
been to Italy. I went all over Europe,
Uh-huh.
even Greece. And so when
That's
you talk
great.
about vision boards, I'm like, yes,
It
yes, yes,
works.
yes,
It
because it
works.
really does.
It works.
It helps you visualize what you want because I feel like
Hmm.
that's where the power is.
Listen, your job is not the how. Your job is just to do.
Hmm.
My uncle would say, stay in your lane. Stay in your lane. Don't worry about Jimmy and Johnny and Mary and Betty. Don't worry about none of them. They ain't got no business in your lane. Stay in
Hmm.
your lane.
Yeah.
Do your work.
Hmm.
Work backwards. Start with the end goal in mind and work backwards. If you know that you want to be a ballerina, you're gonna have to spend some time at some dance schools and auditioning, going to some plays and networking. The how will come. You'll meet the right people if you're in your lane. So if your
Hmm.
lane, if your destination is to business, get in the business lane and stay in your lane.
Hmm.
I do not believe in a plan B. You have to have a plan A and a plan A. My plan is to win and to win more.
Hmm.
I quit when I decided to work. Um, so I'll tell you a story. So
Yeah.
my aunt told me my aunt is a very powerful manifesting lady,
Yeah.
and when I was in business school, she's like, Keith, you know what? You don't know what you want to do yet. You need to start traveling. Why don't you go travel around the world and it'll be shown to you what you're supposed to do? So I took a trip. My first international trip was to go to Japan. I went around Japan and I didn't have a lot of money, but I brought my little spices with me because I love cooking for people. And lo and behold, I ended up cooking for people all over Osaka and Ibaraki and Yokohama and Tokyo and Kyoto, all over Japan. And when I was leaving, everybody asked me, "Can you imagine? Can you guess what they would ask me for?"
For your spices.
For my spices. They want to know how I was able to make the food taste so damn good. And when I got back to America, I ended up sending out hundreds of packs of spices as gifts to the people that I met. And they gave me the idea, wow, people really like my flavor. And I took another trip. This time, I was under the illusion that having more money would equal to more happiness. So I took a job that I hated, which was teaching at the time, because
Hmm.
I had my family forced me to get a regular job. So I ended up listening to them and working a regular job. I was teaching English in the high schools, but when I would go there, I would imagine myself entertaining the students in preparation for when I have my own television show, in preparation for when I was entertaining people on the line. So I would use my teaching as practice. So I was like, this teaching, excuse my friend, this teaching shit sucks. However, it's an opportunity for me to practice my skills. So I was like, well, I ain't making no money in America teaching. So I got offered a job in the United Arab Emirates. And I said, you know what, I'm going. So I took that job. I hated the teaching, it was miserable as hell, but it allowed me the opportunity to entertain. And guess what happened when I was over in the Middle East?
What happened?
They would ask me to cook and ask me what spices. I ended up cooking for the royal family out there in Abu Dhabi. I would have dinner parties at my home, and so many dignitaries and famous people, and you name the nationality, and they were there. And guess what they asked me at the end of it for my damn spices.
Yeah.
And they asked, so I came back to America. I was like, you know what? I'm never working for anybody again. I'm gonna just stick with my cooking and stick with my spices. So I started my YouTube channel. The day I put up my first YouTube video, I made my first spice sale. And at that time, I was mixing the spices in Ziploc bags, and I was just doing that. And I also enrolled in culinary school and flew out the same day. Once I got to culinary school, I was mixing the spices in my college dorm, and it grew and grew and grew. I learned the art of marketing, which we can talk about later.
Mm-hmm.
And through the art of marketing and self promotion and prayer and manifesting and all of that good stuff, I was able to get a co-packer. A co-packer is a company that will take your recipes and formulas and mass produce it for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that. And then I was able to I got my first grocery store account in 2015. 2019, I got Walmart. And then from Walmart, it was an avalanche of Costco and Food Lion and
Yeah.
Big Y and Julasco and HEB and Fry's. And now we're going global. So
Mm-hmm.
when I say I'm the spiciest man in the world, I am. But my
You
spices are
are.
global.
You
You
are. You
understand what
are
I'm
the
saying?
spices man. Yeah.
Right. So I'm telling you that roundabout story to show you how staying in your lane, seek, and what you're seeking for is also seeking you. But you got to actively dig and search and work and explore and work towards your end goal.
Mm-hmm. So
And I'm proof that it works.
yeah, I mean, I can see that. And I love all the things that you said. I have so many questions off of it. The first one is, what is one example of a vision of yours coming into reality? Like something you had on
Oh,
your vision board coming into reality. Do you have a couple
I'll give
examples?
you, yes, there's so many, so many. But I would tell you the most powerful one
Yes.
to me,
Yes.
because this one really was the catalyst to transforming my life. So back in 2018, I'm a person that is obsessed with the beach. When I was living with my family back home, I would drive to the beach an hour and just go sit on the beach multiple times a week. And I would do my prayers and imagine. I was like, well, I can't wait to the day where I just walk outside of my house and I'm walking on the ocean sand and just right out back my back door and I'm on the beach. The beach is such a powerful place for me. So I went inside and I wrote on my vision board that by September 15th, 2018, I would move into my beach house. Well, September 15th, 2018 came and I wasn't there yet. I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna keep manifesting. I was going out looking for apartments, going to visit, and it wasn't coming. So then I ended up meeting this chick that I was dating, and she lived right on the ocean. And I'm looking around like, wow, this is amazing. You live like this? Wow. And so it just opened up my sight that, hey, I could have this too. And I went back and looked at my wall, and it was September 15th. September 15th was coming. And guess what? I ended up moving into this beach house on September 15th, 2020,
Wow.
into a neighborhood that was near my ex. And I didn't even know about this neighborhood. I didn't even know this person, but it just opened up for me to see that it's possible for me too.
Yeah.
And I moved here, and it's been magnificent. I have a gorgeous kitchen everything that I asked for came. I asked God for a beautiful kitchen to make my cooking videos in, and it being on the ocean. But then I got something even better, because if you look outside here, I got the ocean right out front, but I also have the marina right out back with all of the boats and stuff. So I have the best of both worlds.
Wow.
I have the ocean in the front, and I have the marina with my boats and beautiful pool and everything right in the back. And for
Yeah.
me, this was my gift at that time. It was a manifestation of what I was asking for to the date. I actually moved in a day early. I moved in September 14th. On my vision board, it said the 15th, so I got a day earlier.
Wow.
So that just shows the date to the date. And all I did was stay in my lane, even though I didn't have the money. I didn't even know how I was going to be able to pay for it at the time. But the money came, the place showed, the perfect location showed up, and I was actively searching. So that's just a small
Yeah.
manifestation of. It may be small to other people, but it was huge for me, because
Mm.
I had to get out of my previous living situation because I was being attacked by the people in that area because they couldn't understand my vision and what I was trying to do. And I
Mm.
was being attacked for looking different, moving different. But I'm a damn Spice King. I can't dress regular. I can't dress like everybody else. I can't look like everybody else. I gotta be me. You know what I'm saying? But in certain circles, that's not accepted. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I totally do. And there's one thing really, really funny that I love about that is you dress so beautifully. I love the way you
Oh,
dress.
thank you.
But when
Well,
we
I just have on a spice. I just have a spicing t-shirt on today, but normally, we.
normally, yes, yes, on the cruise ship, me and my mom, the first time we saw you, my mom's like, that guy, he's got something big going on. Like, we don't know who he is, but like he's got
Wow.
something really big going on. And like we didn't really know. And then we finally introduced ourselves to you by on like one of the main decks or something like that. I forget where we were. But I remember just meeting you and being like, I just like was obsessed with your look. I loved it so much.
Thanks.
It really, really was just like that you take your work so seriously. And it's just like
Hmm.
it's a really great thing. And it makes you the Spice King. We
Well,
talk
let me tell
about
you
you all the
something.
time because
Oh,
you were
thank you.
amazing.
So let me tell you the magic behind that. And
Yeah.
this is in direct proportion to everybody who's watching this video or whoever will watch this video.
Yeah.
Until you see it, nobody else will see it. So if there's something that you want for your life, you gotta move like it. You gotta walk like it. You gotta talk like it. You gotta smell like it. Every word out of your mouth has to be about that.
Mm-hmm.
Your very even down to your very appearance has to be a manifestation or a foresight of things to come for you and for your brand and for your life. So everybody's path is different, but if you don't, how's anybody else gonna see it if you don't see it?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And it's like along the lines of like start living like you already have these things.
That is the main key of manifesting. You have to live like it's already here.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look around, you're gonna look around and that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Exactly. And there's one other thing that you were talking about when you talked about your aunt and your journey of becoming the ultimate Spice King. And she told you to travel. She
Mm-hmm.
told you to go out into the world and travel. And I'd love for you to just dig a little bit more into that because I know for me personally, I'm like, I need to travel. But when I was out in the world on my own, these
Mm-hmm.
things were showing up in front of me. Like, you're really good at creating connections with people. You're
Mm-hmm.
really good at,
And you are great at that.
thank you. But like it kept showing up, but there's these things in my head, the little voices, the negative talkers, and they were like, no, 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 you're not good enough. You're not this. Nobody likes you, like all the negativity. But when I went into the world and it wasn't my like immediate circle telling me like you're great,
Mm-hmm.
whatever, blah, 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 I really realized who I was and the power that I had within that
You
was
have to travel.
yeah. And so I am like, you have to travel and even better, travel alone and meet new people because you'll learn new things about yourself.
Yeah, I was on that cruise alone.
Yes. You were alone?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah,
But you know what's funny is that you're never even you're under sometimes you can be under the illusion that you're alone, but you're never alone.
no.
There was not a single night I didn't have people to talk to or hang out with. I hung out with you. I hung out with people at the bar. I even met people that I traveled around Copenhagen with that I met on the ship. So you're never alone, and you
Mm-hmm.
meet people. You meet so many great new friends, and you don't have to worry about that. Just
Mm-hmm.
go, get out there and go. And the things that you learn about yourself. I see this whole life journey is about conquering yourself, conquering the fears, getting over all the things that you're afraid of, and getting to a point where you are no longer reliant upon the validation of others. Whether it's in a romantic situation where you think you're less because somebody didn't treat you the way you're supposed to be treated, or in a family construct where you're being attacked for being different or not taking a traditional course of life, or in school if you stand out, it could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be okay standing alone You have to be okay hearing your own voice.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be okay walking in your own skin. And you have to be okay giving yourself a hug. You got to be okay saying, hey, you look great. You're
Mm-hmm.
magnificent. You're a brilliant person. You're so skilled. You have to tell these things to yourself. If you don't, the energy from outside is going to implode on you. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the importance of affirmations and building up your own self-worth and validation, your own self-praise from within so that it doesn't matter what comes in from the outside. It's already here. And then guess what? When it's in here, it will reflect back to you in such beautiful ways.
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping all of this is making sense
Oh
what I'm
my
trying to say.
gosh, I am. It makes 100%. I'm totally with you right now.
Yeah, that's my biggest journey and biggest struggle thus far is
Yeah.
self and being okay walking alone.
Hmm. And what got you to the place where you were okay to walk alone and where you were confident in yourself? Because from personal experience, it doesn't happen overnight. It's a long process. We could probably sit here and talk for hours about that process. But if you could give us like a little example of what it was in your life and how you got there. How did you get to a place where you could stand alone and you could cheer yourself on and be that person you were looking for, but you were that person for yourself? How did you get there?
Out of necessity, out of necessity. And guess what? It's nobody else's job to affirm you. They're too busy affirming themselves. Nobody, we shouldn't be waiting on other people to come around and pat us on our back. Oh, you did a good job, or you look so beautiful, or you're so sexy. Tell that to yourself. Because guess what? If you become reliant on somebody else telling you that stuff and they stop, you're at a double loss.
Mm-hmm.
One, because you never gave it to yourself, and then two, the person who you're looking for it to give you stop giving it to you, and then you feel like you're at a double loss. And I was at that place, and that's not a fun place to be at. The most empowering, beautiful place to be is when you're 100% thrilled and happy with yourself. You like the way you look, you like the way you move. You're working in your own situation. The money comes to you like an avalanche. You don't have to worry about your next meal or you're paying your bills or your rent. It just, it's on automatic. That's the place you want to be at. And it feels so wonderful, so magnificent. But in order to get there, you got to fight off all those other energies from the exterior and the interior. Because we can be a hell of a villain to ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We're the biggest villain
Yeah. We're
to
the hardest on
ourselves.
ourselves. Yeah.
The hardest. And we internalize a lot. I can talk about me. I internalize a lot of stuff, but it ain't really got nothing to do with me. As long as you're being the very best version of yourself and you treating everybody with integrity, you're doing your very best. And I'm like, who cares what other people do? Because you did your part. And
Mm-hmm.
guess what? You'll be rewarded for the person. You look around, look where you are, and look where the other people that did you wrong are.
Mm-hmm.
Where they
Totally.
at? And guess what? They lost out on the biggest blessing, which is being around you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
all those people that said no in business, that they're missing out. And they will come back around, but your price will have gone up.
Mm-hmm. That's so
So
powerful.
I am in a space where I am okay cutting off people that don't deserve the privilege of being in my company. And I'm still working on this, but I no longer have a need of external validation.
Mm-hmm.
I know, I'm gonna just say it like this. My products are literally the best on the planet. They really are by design. But if I never get an accolade for it, which I've gotten so many accolades, I will still be fine because I know the work and the sweat and the science and the creativity I put into the product. So I feel good that I've put the very, very best that I
Mm-hmm.
could possibly put. And it was my intention to make everybody's lives taste better and
Yeah.
to bring a smile to people's face when they cook a meal with these products. I
Yeah.
did my best.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best, and my best keeps getting better.
Yeah. And nobody knows what you went through either to make this
Oh no,
product
I don't
the way
talk
it
because
is.
you know what? And that's not for anybody to know because it's a personal journey. It's your job to smile and look good, see it moving. But you ask me some personal questions, so I'm giving you personal, detailed answers.
Yes, totally. Yeah, and I think what you're talking about is that like when you said, you're still working on it, I think it's a very long process and some year you're like really really great, you don't care about what other people think, but there'll be one little thing that slips in. It's like a little test. It's like I'm gonna just give you a little test and it comes in and sometimes you fail, but the best thing about failing in those little tests is that you learn and you reanalyze and you say, where in my life can I pivot? Where in my life
Well,
can I become better?
but just to add something to what you're saying, you
Yeah,
never fail until you give up. You only fail if you stay laying down there.
yeah.
Get up,
Mm-hmm.
get
Keep
up, get up.
mm-hmm.
With every sunset, it brings the opportunity for a brand new day. So the person you were yesterday is no longer.
Mm-hmm.
Each day, each sunrise, you can be a brand new, better version of yourself. And then sometimes you have to let people or things go. But what's even better is to let them grow. Let
Yeah,
it grow.
that's powerful.
I hope that's making sense.
I love it. No, I seriously love it. I love everything you're saying because I think in business, especially, you really have to have this mindset of you just keep going. And with every challenge, there's a new thing you're going to learn and try and keep going with. And it's hard to, take the mind out of it in some ways and really be nice to yourself, but over the journey through the process, with every step you learn more and more and more and grow more and more and more. And so I absolutely love what you're talking about. The one thing I also wanted to ask you about is what was the hardest point in your business? Can you give us a, maybe there's probably plenty of hard points as an entrepreneur, I know as well there is not always sunshine and rainbows, but if you had to pick one point that was really like really hard for you and how you were able to move out of it in business.
All right. So there there were the okay. I would say 2018, 2019, and 2020 were the hardest years for me in
Mm-hmm.
business. But 2021 was the hardest year for me to deal with emotionally, but I also experienced the biggest growth financially.
Mm,
Let me backtrack and say why.
yeah.
So in 2018, 2019, 2020, I had gotten 2015, I got my first grocery store account, which was a miracle because my first grocery store order was $25,000 at that time. And I didn't know where in the hell I was going to get that money to manufacture my products. Where the hell was it going to come from? My family ain't have it, and
Mm-hmm.
none of my friends ain't have it either. And the company who I had subcontracted to do my first order couldn't do it at the last moment. So I was freaking out. I said, this is the biggest opportunity I ever had in my life back in 2015 to be able to get into retail stores, which was my dream. And I am not going to fuck this up with manufacturing. So
Mm-hmm.
I ended up going to a barbecue. I didn't know how I was going to do it because I didn't have the money to do it, and I didn't have the manufacturing facility to do it. Where the fuck was it going to happen from?
Mm-hmm.
So I prayed about it. I looked back at my vision board. No, man, this is supposed to happen. I'm supposed to be in the stores. This is happening. I went to a barbecue restaurant and I ended up meeting this old man by the name of Bowleg. And Bowleg said, why are you looking so bad? Why you look so dejected? I was like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. What's wrong? I was like, man, I got this opportunity and I don't know. Tell me about the opportunity. I was like, man, I got it. I got my first opportunity to get in grocery stores, but I don't have a manufacturer to do it. I don't have the money to do it. I don't know how it's going to. He's like, you trust God? I was like, yeah, I trust him. You really do? I was like, it's gonna work out. I was like, but how? I was like, shut up and stop asking how. Just know it's gonna work out. And I got somebody for you. So he ended up introducing me to a company in Miami. This is all random now. He ended up introducing me to a company in Miami, and the company in Miami agreed to manufacture the product for me at a rush time. I had like 2 weeks to manufacture this stuff. So I was right on at the deadline. Within 2 weeks, I was able to get the stuff manufactured. The money came from all over the place, borrowing from friends and from high interest loan, high interest loans from friends and associates, business associates, and all of that. But it happened,
Yeah.
and I didn't make a dime from 2015, 2016, 2017, 20 2018, 2019. I didn't make a dime because I had to do factoring companies, which were very high interest, and I had to borrow from high interest loan sharks to be able
Right.
to manufacture. But I knew that eventually I was going to buy my freedom, which I did,
Hmm.
and the money was going to roll in like an avalanche because of all the hard work we were doing. And then even during that time, throughout the no money, I had to travel. I was going from state to state, meeting with retailers, and that cost money. I had to buy the plane tickets. I had to pay for my brokers. I had to pay for my videographers. I videotaped the whole thing too. So I got all this in the can. Me going, staying at all these roach hut motels with roaches and cigarette butts all over the bed and carpet. It was horrible. I would
Hmm.
have to. I would ask for, yo, man, you got to send me $100, man. I just landed here. I got to take this meeting with Walmart. Yo, send me $100 so I can get this rental car so I can get to my meeting. My friends would cash at me $100. Have to pay it right back. Money was so damn tight. And in between all of that time, I had my certain people in my family and my friends. When are you gonna get a damn job? Where's the money? You've been working at this company for all these years. Where's the money? You're spending all this money on manufacturing. You're not making a dime. Are you a businessman? You ain't no businessman. You ain't even making a profit. You need to go out there and get a job. One person in my religious quote unquote elders is like, you need to take your business in the backyard and shoot it dead. If I were you, I would have quit that business long time ago.
Wow.
Obviously, all these trips that you're doing all around the world ain't working out for you. So what's the problem? When are you gonna start making some real money to contribute to the family? When are you gonna do this? When are you gonna do that? You know what I'm saying? So it was so much pressure.
And
And
everybody,
then
it
on
sounds
top
like
of that,
everybody started giving up too.
listen, it was hell. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm living in this small room with no privacy. You know, everybody's calling you crazy. On top of that, I was being attacked by the religious group for my appearance and friends and stuff because I had a, it just makes no sense looking from the outside world, but for having facial hair and for wearing jewelry and and dressing flashy, because that's just my personality. Being attacked for, so people telling you that you're ugly, that you look like shit, like you're not educated, and who's gonna buy your products, or why would they say yes to this and that? And you're being attacked financially, and it was the hardest time for me to fight all of that negativity and to still stay centered and be like, know what? No, I'm taking this extra trip. I'm flying here. Somebody's gonna say yes. I'm flying here. I'm flying there. Hey, if I got to sleep in the car for this business meeting, if I got to go on the trip and don't eat, there was times I had $3. One of the dollars went to go buy a pack of frozen Michelina meal. The other dollar bought a dollar water bottle, and the other dollar bought a Reese's, and that was my meal. But all my money was out in the streets. All my money was in manufacturing. All my money was in bottles and caps and labels and
Yeah.
ingredients. So I knew it was going to happen, but I had to just fight all it. And everybody's battle is different, but that battle for me was very intense because it was personal.
Yeah.
And people were telling me that I was crazy for and attacking my physicality. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was the hardest thing. And how I overcame it was through lots of prayer, and I lived in my vision board. I,
Hmm.
I would look at it all the time. And to get away from people, I would leave early in the morning and I would come home or come back to the area late at night
Hmm.
so that I could avoid hearing the negativity.
Yeah.
I would distance myself from quote unquote friends that didn't share my same values. I was alone most of the damn time.
Yeah.
But But the blessing after all of that was all worth it because my products are in not 100, not 200, not 300, not 400, not even 5,000 stores. You know how big that is?
Yeah.
Especially coming from somebody that just started off on YouTube. That's huge. I'm
Hmm.
doing better than companies with multi-millions of dollars to start. You
That's
understand
right.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So again, that time was very difficult because all of the external was telling me no,
Yeah.
even in the finance realm was telling me no.
Yeah.
But my internal and my divine inspiration said yes.
Yeah.
So it was my job to make sure that I stayed in my lane and I did exactly what I was supposed to do and what I had to do.
Yeah.
So
And
I hope that answered the question.
yeah, it did. And before you jump into like the next, what happened after that and how everything turned out in the next couple of years, what was your biggest lesson from all of that? Like you've shared so many lessons from that already, but if you could pull one lesson that you would share with other business people, with other people, listening to this podcast, what would you say was your biggest lesson from that hardship?
Follow divine inspiration. Don't pay attention to how it looks. Focus on the vision that God gave you, that you were inspired by.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is the reality,
Mm-hmm.
not the present circumstance. The present circumstance is just a test to see how bad you want what is to come. And you get past that, blessings on top of blessings on top of blessings.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love so much how you were brought us through that and explained it because it really just shows how much you really have to believe in yourself again. Like it's bringing us back to that where it's like people are going to tell you no, people are going to tell you that your idea is stupid, people are going to tell you it's not going to work. And there's been so many times where it has worked, and you're one example of it, but you have to keep going and really, really believe in yourself. But it really sucks when the people around you who you want to lift you up don't show up for you in that way. But it teaches you that lesson of that you have to show up for yourself.
You have to show up for yourself. You said it all. You said it. Show up for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Love yourself. Hug yourself. Kiss yourself.
Yeah. Believe in
Tell
yourself.
yourself how tell yourself how beautiful you are.
Yeah.
Value and appreciate yourself. To
Mm-hmm.
appreciate means to gain in value and gain in worth.
Mm-hmm.
Appreciate, value, and appreciate yourself and others just by nature of that's who you are and independent of how they treat you or what they do. Know that you did your best and you put your best foot forward.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to be content with that.
Yeah.
That
Fantastic.
is the lesson.
Yeah, that is a beautiful, beautiful lesson. And now, can you bring us through what happened after that hardship, after that hard period? What were the next couple years like for you?
Oh, magnificent. Oh, great. Just one grocery store after another one. All the hard work, all the lack was transformed into gain and abundance and freedom and joy. And even though some of the people who I wanted to be there are not, it's still great to experience it on your own because you don't want to put in the hard work anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And our joy should not be dependent on someone else's acceptance or validation.
Yeah.
It feels wonderful. You drive the kind of car you want, buy the physical things. Now, things are just representations of what you know to be true in your heart. It's an outward validation, an outward representation of what you already know to be true.
Mm-hmm.
So the trappings of wealth and the fancy watches and jewelry and all that stuff, uh, that brings some joy. But for me, it's to shut all of them haters up. It was a refreshment from all of the pain and abuse to know that what you thought to be is valid.
Yeah.
And so I hope that's inspirational to some people out there because yours is right on its way. All you got to do is just stay in your lane,
Yeah.
stay focused, keep working, keep going, take the risk. There's no risk, there's no reward. And don't look at your present circumstance. Look at what's to come. Don't worry about the money. Money is just an illusion. You got to move beyond that. My aunt and my uncle would always tell me that favor trumps money any day. So you want to pray for favor because if somebody like you and you have favor, the answer is going to be yes. But you can have all the money in the world, and if somebody don't like you, you ain't getting that damn opportunity. Period.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful that I have favor. I'm thankful that I was blessed to be able to continue on my path. I'm so appreciative and I'm so grateful and I'm so humbled by it all because most people don't get to this place.
Yeah.
But I'm privileged to be in this place and continue to grow higher and bigger and better
Mm-hmm.
and more global. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And I'm able to, the other day I was filming it. This was when I was filming that video shoot. I think the name of the song is called Spice King Love. It's the song we put out for Valentine's Day.
I
And when you
love
look,
it. You have to go listen to
yeah,
it right now. I love your little
yeah,
jingle. It's so awesome.
yeah, all of them people in that video, it was at least 100 people there. All the people was paid. I'm like, look at all the opportunity and blessings that the gift that God gave through me is able to bless. I'm able to share resources with all of these people. All of these people are able to do their gift because I did my gift.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was beautiful. Why are people not living in their power?
Yeah.
And it's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice. You got to choose
Absolutely.
it.
And one question I did not ask you, which I don't know why I didn't ask you, but it came back into my head, is you said that you went and you traveled and you would cook for people and you went to
Hmm.
culinary school. So you clearly had a passion for food, cooking. How
Hmm.
did that become?
Oh yeah. So I always knew. We all know what our gifts are, and an easy way to determine what your gifts are to look at all the things that you do for free, that you have so much enjoyment in that you'd be willing to do it for free. It just brings you so much joy. For me, cooking was all of that. I remember I was 3 years old, climbing up into the spice cabinets, mixing spices and water to make soup and putting it in the microwave. Like I just always loved food. All of my entertainment was watching food videos, watching Food Network. I would dream of the day I would have my own TV show on Food Network, which is still to come.
Yeah.
So I always knew that I wanted to work in food. And so then I started experimenting with working in restaurants, doing catering. And
Mm-hmm.
guess what I realized?
What?
That ain't what I want to do. Standing up all them hours like that, hell no. So I
Yeah.
thought of a smart way to still be able to do food and create culinary art would to be through which would be through products, because then I could cook and make videos like I enjoy, but
Mm-hmm.
then I'd be able to make a product that is a self-duplicating asset because people run out of it. I mean, when they run out of it, they're gonna go buy more.
Yeah.
So you're able to make residual income off of your work.
Yeah.
Whereas if I was just in one location cooking, I'm limited by the hours that I'm open, or I'm
Yeah.
limited by how many people can walk through my door,
Mm-hmm.
or I'm limited to my how long I can stand up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Limited by physicality and time and location. Whereas with products, you can be global.
I
And
love
all business is universal. You have to create a problem, offer a solution, market the hell out of it, and and duplicate it. Those
Yeah.
four things.
Exactly. I was going to say it's entrepreneuring 101. You solve somebody's problem. So, their
Mm-hmm.
food is not spicy or seasoned properly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've been able to create it in a way where they will keep coming back. They will return.
Mm-hmm.
You've set up a beautiful business for yourself where
Mm-hmm.
you experience what it's like to do the hard work, the man labor, where you're like, that's not exactly what I want. And I love what you
Mm-hmm.
said because it speaks to so many lessons you could learn in business books, but you just learn right here where it's like you have to solve a problem and then figure
Mm-hmm.
out how to make that a desire for people.
Right. Even if you have to work at a job, manipulate it like I did so that it's in preparation for your exit and in preparation for you to do what you really want to do. Like when I was teaching,
Yes.
I I I fucking hated it. It was horrible for me. I loved the students. I would teach like 12th graders and high schoolers. So we had a vibe. I still stay in contact with all of the students that I was back then.
Wow.
But the job itself, I hated, and the politics at the job, I hated it, and they weren't making no money. I hated it.
Mm-hmm.
So but I would use my teaching and my performing in front of the kids and stuff as a preparation for teaching. As preparation for when I would entertain on television or entertain in videos or entertain in live events. And I had an exit date.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When I went over to the Middle East, I thought that making more money would make me happier, but
Yeah.
it did the opposite. Because I was miserable, and every day I would wake up and curse, "Damn it, I gotta go to this damn job again." Oh, it was horrible. But I still, on my off time, would go volunteer at the spice markets, at the souks, and I would go and work with the perfume company. That's what I learned how to manufacture products.
Yeah.
Um, I would deal with the spice traders. It was just such an education.
Yeah.
But had I not taken that risk and going, even when I took that job overseas, people were like, "Oh my God, you're gonna go over there and get blown up by the Taliban," and you know, you going up there to be with the Muslim people. That was some of the most beautiful people, and they share so many similarities
Mm-hmm.
with the Christian faith. In fact, the Muslim people pray more. They pray several times a day, where certain faiths only pray once. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
learned a lot from being near that culture. I learned a lot about hospitality and generosity. And now I'm just more open. I'm just more accepting of all. I don't care what faith or creed or background. I don't care about none of that.
Yeah.
I love everybody, and those experiences opened me up to that, to
I
travel.
Yeah, I love that. And I agree. And something came to me when you said that. And it's like when you pray for something or when you ask for something, I heard this on the internet. It was like when you pray for something or ask for something, be ready to get the opportunity to gain that skill, learn that thing, get that thing. It's not going to be handed to you on a silver platter. There's going to be an opportunity, an experience, a teaching moment. It's not just going to be handed to you really, really easily. You have to work for it. And what I hear in your teaching experience was that you were asking for something, but you weren't quite there yet. You were given the opportunity to maybe learn that doing something that you're passionate requires to do the nitty gritty, requires you to do other things and learn more skills and do different things. And so I really love that you shared that with me. And sometimes we think like, here's the goal. This is the goal. We're going to that target. We know what we want. And so we discard everything along the way. We say, nope, that's not exactly what I wanted. That's not exactly what I said. So we get rid of it. But in reality, sometimes those opportunities will lead us to where we want to go or where we need to go, and
Absolutely.
we would just disregard them. And I love that when you said you made the how did you say, you said something like you made the situation a stepping stone to where you were going to go, and I love
That part. You have to do that.
yeah.
So listen, you guys, the future is bright. It's exciting. You're gonna be so filled with joy and excitement and passion. And you're gonna be so filled that you'll be overflowing with blessings and prosperity. And your overflow would be a blessing to other people.
Yeah.
You'll be able to hire people and share and experience. But you can only get to that place once you make a decision to follow your divine inspiration. So that's my message to everybody watching is follow your divine inspiration. And no matter how it looks, you stay in your lane and you keep doing what? Going forward.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for all your time. Before we wrap up, I ask 4 questions at the end of every single interview, and I think you're going to like them. So I'm going to start with those, and then we are done, and I'm so excited. So the first one is, what is the best advice you received and from whom?
The best advice I ever experienced was when I was in 4th grade in that drama magnet program, and I was getting beat up every day, and people were picking on me. And at that time, I was very obsessed with Michael Jackson. So I would try to emulate Michael Jackson in his way of dressing and performing. And in my dramas that I would perform, I would always choose to do something that he would do. And my bus driver would put me aside. It's like, you know what, Keith, you need to be yourself. There's beauty in being yourself.
Mm-hmm.
From then on, I was like, wow, why am I trying to be like somebody else when I could be like me?
Yeah, everybody's already taken.
Hey, everybody's already taken. Be you. And that was the best advice I ever got.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, next question. What is the worst advice you've received?
My worst advice, and I didn't listen to it, by the way, was when somebody told me to take my business in the backyard. If they were me, they would take my business in the backyard and shoot it dead.
Yeah.
To give up on my dream, to give up on my passion, and go what? Be a regular job that's miserable? Hell no. I understand that comment came out of a place of fear on their part because maybe they were forced to work in a job that they hated and they took a safe route.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that because they were able to provide for their family, but not everybody has to fit in the same mold. And without risk, there's no reward. So I forgive and I understand where that comment came from.
Yeah.
But that was the worst advice somebody ever gave me.
Yeah. And I'm so glad you didn't listen to it because look where you are today.
You damn right about that.
It's a beautiful thing. All right. The next question. What advice would you tell your younger self or someone in the younger generation?
Never know unless you try.
And why would you tell your younger self that?
Well, I always lived by that. But I would tell other people to you never know unless you try.
Yeah.
If you want to try this career, go on and try it. You want to try this new place to visit, go on and visit it.
Yeah.
You want to try this new food, go on and try it. Just if you want this opportunity, you never know unless you ask.
Yep.
Go for it.
Yeah.
That's the advice.
That is
I would tell young people, just go for it.
Yeah. And try do new things too. I think we get so stuck on not knowing what to do, but how would we know what we want to do if we haven't tried things? So I love that piece of advice. Now, the last question I'm going to ask you today before you tell us where we can find you online is, what are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for my family, my friends. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful that I have a career that I love. I'm grateful that people have given me an opportunity. I'm grateful that people try my products. I'm grateful for life itself. I'm grateful to know that life will go as you design it.
Mm-hmm.
As you pray for, as you intend for. You're rewarded. I'm grateful to know that you are rewarded based on your faith.
And that is like our whole conversation, what we've been talking about, and it wraps it up in such a nice way. And I wanted to thank you again so much for joining me today, sharing your wisdom, sharing all of the tips and tricks. Where can people find you on Instagram or any other platform?
Sure. If you're on Instagram, go to @TheSpiceKing. My website is spicekingworld.com. And you can find Spice King products in Walmart, Stop and Shop, Big Y, Jewel-Osco, HEB, Food Lion, Kroger,
Mm.
Costco, Fry's, and we're coming soon to Safeway and Wakefern stores.
And is that only in the US or is that Canada too, or not yet?
Currently in the United States, we're working as we speak on distribution into Canada.
Woo-hoo. So exciting. So if you're in the US, definitely go check it out. Find the Spice King spices to spice up your life. And again, thank you so, so much for joining.
You see the shirt?
I see it. I see it.
It says Spice King gonna get you right.
That's his
Spice King
song.
gonna get you right.
Yes, it is. And just thank you again for sharing so much wisdom and just shining your light with us today, because I can truly feel your passion for your product and your company and your journey. So thank you so much.